All right, people, real quick, before we dive in, I gotta give you a trigger warning, so you know this one's gonna be a spicy video. I also want to say right here that I'm not acting in this video. These are my honest opinions about the Versys 650. If you own one, or perhaps you don't have a sense of humor about your motorcycle or motorcycle choices, maybe you shouldn't watch this video. But for everybody else, buckle up. This one's gonna feel a little bit different today. Wow, that is the most uninspiring engine. Oh man, it's just like it just doesn't do anything. This is absolutely pizzazz-less. This feels like I am the nerd. I'm not having fun on this motorcycle at all. I'm not having any fun, like, whatsoever.
Oh my god. Hit like and subscribe so that we can revive Spite's poor lost soul as it was sucked out of his butt on a Versys 650.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, and today we've got something very interesting for you. We've got a Versys 650 and a Ducati Multistrada Pike's Peak. We're going to be taking a look at these motorcycles.
Spite!
Yeah. Hey, Whitney, what's up?
Why did you bring these ugly motorcycles out here?
What? Ugly? What? You don't like? I mean, it's the Pike's Peak Multistrada. This is supposed to be like
the ugliest bike ever?
You really think it's ugly?
I do think it's ugly.
Oh God, I can't work like this, man. This is not an ugly motorcycle. Oh my God.
They're ugly bikes.
All right, I will grant you, these might not be the prettiest motorcycles out there. But the point still stands. We are taking a look at the Versys 650 because this is like the most attainable sport tourer in the world. I mean, it's incredibly popular and you can get these dirt cheap. And then Ducati was like, what if we did not that? And they made the Multistrada Pike's Peak, which takes their adventure bike and turns it into what I think is like a supermoto with bags.
Nothing says ultra rich dad like a Pike's Peak edition of a motorcycle, which is why I was excited to ride it. I was like, I want to ride Pike's Peak. I want to pretend I'm on a Pike's Peak motorcycle ride.
Yeah, I was, you know, throwing some ideas at Whitney for what bikes we wanted to borrow from AF1 for the day, and she was like, I definitely want to ride this one.
It's so funny. I'm like, man, riding with Spite. I'm living that dad life, whatever. And then I'm like, wait, I picked this bike. I was like, wait, am I a dad?
I think you're secretly a dad.
I am secretly a sport touring dad, so.
Well, let's take a quick look at the specs on these things. They're very different and the prices are very different. And then let's go hit the road and have some fun and see what these things are like back to back. Now, a real quick breakdown here on the Pike's Peak Multistrada. This is a 2019 that we borrowed from AF1. This thing has 156 horsepower and 96 foot-pounds of torque coming out of its 1260cc V-twin. This thing is a freaking beast with all of the modern technological goodies, Öhlins fully adjustable suspension, quick shifter up and down, all the different rider mode adjustments that you get from a top-tier Ducati. But even with 15,000 miles on the clock, this thing right here costs you 18 grand. And yeah, that is a bit of a discount over the new Pike's Peak, but that is still a pretty penny for a motorcycle. I think it's worth it, but is it worth twice the price, more than twice the price of the Versys 650? Well, let's bring Whitney in here with that bike and see what it's packing.
And here we have the 2015 Versys 650. It's got a 650cc engine, making about 65 horsepower and 45 foot-pounds of torque, coming at about $6,500, used from AF1 Racing. Thanks again, John, for letting us take these bikes out. And that's about a third of the price of the Pike's Peak Multistrada. Let's find out if it's a third of the bike on the road. Okay, Spike, real quick, do you want to confess to your audience how we had to pull over at a gas station and you wept tears of joy?
God. Yeah, okay, all right. I will confess that I am really enjoying this Multistrada here. This is like it. We said when we were rolling, we were like, when you know, you know. And
yep.
there's just, I had an instant connection to this motorcycle, and I was just like, oh, I want it. I need it so bad. It feels so good. It's right up my alley. It's everything that I'd want from a big sport touring machine. It's great.
I would say you giggled, if we're going to talk about giggle factor real quick, you giggled about 50 to 60% of the ride on the way up here. It's a 30-minute ride.
Yeah, Whitney definitely just had to listen to me profess my undying love for this machine the entire way. And I'm sorry if it was getting a little too poetic, a little too, you know, sweet nothings or anything like that. But you know what? Actually, no, I'm not sorry. I just like this machine. Sorry. This is a great motorcycle, and I think one of the biggest things that I'm noticing about it is, despite its size, because this is a big motorcycle, and it feels, just sitting next to these two bikes on the side of the road, I was filming, and one of the things I noticed was this wheelbase looks a lot longer.
Yes, I noticed that too. Than
the Versys. It looks like a long wheelbase motorcycle, but it doesn't handle like one. It's surprisingly light side to side in a way that I was not expecting. It's crazy agile, and I could totally see somebody taking this to a track day, let alone doing their sport touring stuff on it.
Would you take it to a track day?
Me personally, no, because the thought of biffing one of these would just wound me to my core. Also, this is way too much bike for me to use at a racetrack, but I think somebody who's capable, like a Jack Miller type guy, hell yeah, he could take one of these out there and have a lot of fun. This is an exceptional package. You really do feel all of the technology and stuff on here, and while I normally am not the kind of guy who's like, yeah, you gotta have Ohlins, boy oh boy do they feel good.
You're like, oh, wait a second, but you kind of have to have Ohlins.
Yeah, it's surprising how good these Ohlins feel on this thing. They're not stiff. They've got great travel. The ride is plush and comfortable. The brakes are phenomenal, and the tech on it is just like next level wizardry, you know?
Yeah, over here on the Versys, I'm kind of feeling like I have 1/3 of your bike, and that's not bad. But I'm not, the giblets aren't barking, because that's what I'm always looking for, is a giblet bark when I get on a bike.
Yeah.
But we were talking about how it's cheap. I was thinking about it, the wind buffer and the wind protection is great on this, because we've got about 15 mile an hour winds today. We're doing 80 on the highway, and it wasn't a struggle at all. It was great, actually. The power's awesome. The power delivery is there. You know, it doesn't smack you. It's really easy going. I think this is, wouldn't you agree it's a pretty easy bike to work on?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a very simple, brain dead simple machine. There's nothing in there that's complicated, especially since, well, it's true that both of these are last gen, right? The Multistrada now has the V4, the new Versys has the TFT Dash. It's slightly more advanced, but you know, for last gen to last gen motorcycles, there are some things on the Versys that I wish I had here. You know, one of the things.
Like what?
More wind protection, frankly.
Yeah, okay.
Like, so this is all I've got right here. You can squeeze this and move it up and move it down. And I understand why this is like this. It's like a racy sport touring bike, right? But I would like some wind protection. This is so low that it does nothing when I'm out on the highway. And you'll see it when you get on the highway too. This thing feels a little odd.
I think you did mention when you first hopped on it that something was strange about the front end. Like you felt like it wasn't built all the way.
Yeah, it feels too small. Like, I'm used to, when I get on a bike like this, I'm used to it being a big, full-size adventure motorcycle, you know?
Right.
And it doesn't feel that way. It feels smaller. And I think that's by design, but there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance in my brain going on right there.
Like, has that subsided since spending a little bit more time on it?
Not
really. I think I'm
Okay.
getting more used to it, but it still feels funny. And
Right,
in
it's still
fact,
noticeable.
yeah, in fact, why don't we pull over and get you on this and get your initial thoughts? Because, you know, I really would like to hear what you have to say about this, especially since this is actually making almost triple the horsepower and like more than double the torque.
I was about to say, I'm excited for that 90 foot-pounds of torque punch.
96, please, and
what?
thank you.
Wait
96.
a second! Nuh-uh!
But one thing I will say before you hop on it, it's very rideable, even in sport mode. So let's pull over and get you on this guy. Oh my God, sitting on this thing, it's like motorcycle.
Yeah.
It's just like motorcycle.
And wouldn't you say some people are into that?
Yeah,
Some
there's
people
literally,
just want motorcycle, I guess.
but there's nothing, like you sit on it and nothing feels special. Nothing feels, it's just like there's a throttle, there's, you know, your clutch, your front brake, your pegs are exactly where you'd expect them to be. Everything on this motorcycle is just the tip of the bell curve. How do you feel hopping on the multi there?
It does feel a little bit taller, which we speculated that it wasn't, but it might be.
Yeah, it might have just been like we had the bike in a rut or something.
Feels commanding.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm smaller in stature. You like the wide handlebars. I do too. I won't know until I get going to see if it's like, you know, too much.
Well, let's get going. Wow, that is the most uninspiring engine. Oh man, it's just like digga 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 digga. It just doesn't do anything. God, that thing looks gigantic with you on it.
You know what? It feels really big. Not gonna lie. It feels, as I'm recalibrating from my Versys 650 brain, this is kind of like a goddamn rocket ship again.
Yeah, it looks gigantic. Like, I'm sure it looks kind of like normal sized with somebody like me, but you're a good bit shorter than I am, and it looks it looks almost comically big.
It feels a little comically big, but so far it's not super uncomfortable. It is super agile. Like, damn, this thing is telepathic.
Are you feeling how light that handlebar is?
Oh yeah, it's super light.
Like, it honestly, to me, that bike feels on a twisty road like a giant supermoto, you know? It literally just feels like a supermoto. It feels easily as agile as my 360-pound KTM. And this motorcycle just feels like an appliance.
It does. It's got blender vibes.
Yeah, I just put some bread in a toaster and I'm just sitting there waiting for it to ding, you know? It's also, this thing is a lot smaller. Like, I physically, the space on it is quite small.
This feels like exactly triple the bike. It feels more commanding. It feels wider. That roaring power band that I can feel in the barometer of my wrist is nuts. I mean, I guess Pike's Peak, right? If you're trying to race up that on a motorcycle, on a nice, really comfy sport touring bike, you know, you're gonna want that.
Yeah. God, this thing is okay. Versus people out there who are watching this, I know for a fact that you're like, oh, but I love my Versys. It's my perfect little grocery getter. Yeah, this is like a Toyota Corolla. I will say though, you know, for a point for the Versys, it is doing everything that the Multistrada did. You know.
Okay, well now you're gonna X out and null every moto vlog, because yeah, I guess it'll get you from point A to point B, right?
Yeah. And for some people that's all you need, but I have to have a little pizzazz, and this is absolutely pizzazzless. This feels like I am the nerd. You know, like it's so hard to come off the Pike's Peak and get on this and not just be like, oh, why?
Yeah, it's like I don't want to dog on a bike that like delivers power well, is easy to work on, and takes care of, you know, gives you more wind protection than this $18,000 rocket ship over here does. But at the same time, we're in America. We like opulence and decadence. And if I'm gonna be going into debt and the bank's gonna own the bike for a period of time anyways, I'm like, I'm gonna get the fancy one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so that's the Twisty Road shakedown. Let's get these things out on the highway and see what the Versys is like, because I already know that the Multi is excellent out on the highway.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, so let's get out and see what they're like on the highway and start wrapping things up here. No, don't have fun, Whitney. Please.
Goodbye, goodbye, Spike. I can't keep up with you anymore. It's so boring.
Oh man. Okay, guys. So full honesty and transparency here. We were just riding down Lime Creek after we finished this up. I'm not having fun on this motorcycle at all. I'm not having any fun, like whatsoever.
To paraphrase, no, I'm not paraphrasing. These were your exact words. I feel like my soul has been removed, ladies and gentlemen. He feels like his soul has been removed.
This bike is so soul. It's like a soul black hole. It just like tears your soul out of you and just sucks it into this pit of mediocrity.
Yeah, like I'm a little worried about you now.
I really, this bike is taking me to some dark places. I really don't like it.
Oh my god. Hit like and subscribe so that we can revive Spite's poor lost soul as it was sucked out of his butt on a Versys 650. Dude, I can't believe you would say something like that.
This is the first motorcycle that I've ridden in a very long time. I can't think of another bike off the top of my head that has bored me to this level. Like even the CBR's 500R, which I didn't love, you could have a little bit of fun on it. And like this thing, you try to have fun on it and it's just like, dude, why are you doing that? Calm down. We need to go straight. Like you need to be ramrod stiff, straight up and down. You have the windscreen at max so that you're not getting any wind buffeting. You're comfortable. What more do you want from me? This is the first motorcycle where I have nothing to say about it. I just have nothing to say.
I can't, like, you seem deflated. You don't seem like yourself. You seem like you might have been possessed by the fun police a little bit.
It's, okay, let me offer the olive branch here. This is fine. It's done everything. It's nothing it has done badly. It does nothing badly.
Besides have fun.
Besides have fun, yeah, okay.
It does that badly.
Like, you know, cruising down the highway here, this windscreen is doing great work. It's doing better work than the Multistrada, wouldn't you say?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and you have the Multistrada at max right now. Like, it's as high up as it'll go. And this is doing a much better job. I would also say if it was just about looks, I think the Ducati is uglier than the Versys.
Okay, yeah, you said it looked like someone smashed its face with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, it's like the head is too big for its body. It's got a really ugly face. But the riding experience is superlative. It is one of the best I've ever felt. And it doesn't feel like triple the motorcycle. It feels like 6 or 10 times the bike that this is. You know, it's like, it's a magnitude, the fun factor is logarithmic on the Multistrada, whereas this is just like, it's completely additive. You know, it's like, this is X plus 1, and that is X log 10, you know?
This is the polar opposite of the Versys 650.
It's no contest for me here. Like, if we're gonna get to the like final thoughts, I'm Multistrada all day, every day, and Versys is like, Versys should be bought by no one. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Versys people. I know you guys love this motorcycle, and it's a great, it's a perfectly adequate motorcycle. It does everything well. It's a great package if you don't want to encounter any issues whatsoever. You know, it's perfectly polished, but it's not a mirror sheen. You know, it's like a stainless steel fridge versus like I don't know, like one of the new Samsung ones. It's got like a screen and can play movies and order your groceries for you and all of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Well, so when are you gonna get a Versys 650, Spite?
Oh man, when I inevitably go to hell for my hedonistic lifestyle.
Oh my god, dude. This is like the most you've ever talked about any bike.
I know. I really do feel bad because I try so hard to find the nugget of a motorcycle, to find what makes it cool, because every motorcycle has something. Every motorcycle has a reason to be, and I really structure all of my reviews. I structure them that way. I try to find the good in every bike, even if it's a bad motorcycle. I really try. I can find nothing that grabs me about this motorcycle, but there's nothing that detracts from it either. If you will allow me to get heady for a second.
Sure.
Have you ever seen Seven Samurai?
No.
The Akira Kurosawa movie?
Oh, I know the director, but I haven't seen that movie, no.
Okay. For those of you who don't know, Seven Samurai is about 7 samurai who are defending a town from raiders, and they're teaching the townspeople how to defend themselves and raising like an army of people. And they have 6 really well-known, well-renowned samurai, and they have one guy who stole his birth certificate. He's claiming to be somebody else. He's this like really abrasive dude. And there's this like perfectly Japanese philosophical moment where they're drawing their battle flag, and it has 6 circles on it and 1 triangle. And the reason behind that is because a samurai, the Bushido code was basically like, you have no ego, because by shaving your ego off, you're like a circle and you can pass through a crowd completely unmolested. You will not be recognized. There's nothing on which to catch. And this other guy, he had this ego, he had this personality, and he was constantly trying to prove himself. And so he was the triangle. They drew him as the triangle. And the samurai, when the triangle guy, when he inevitably died saving one of the other samurai, or one of the village people, all of the other samurai really missed him because he was gone, because he had that ego and the personality that made him unique and special and different. Whereas all the other samurai were like, we're samurai, we know what we're doing, we know it's duty above all else and all of that stuff. And this is like a samurai. It has no ego. It is completely perfectly circular. There is no point upon which to catch. And it's so boring. It's so boring.
You riding the Versys 650 is making you nerd out about how nerdy it is. That's how nerdy the bike is.
Oh man. I'm sorry guys. I really tried, but alright, wrapping things up here.
Okay, let's bring it back.
5-minute diatribe about samurai culture and the 7 samurai. Okay, this motorcycle, it's a 5 out of 10, a perfect 5 out of 10. It is the dial tone of motorcycling. That is 100% worth the 3 times upcharge for it. It's 100% worth its price.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would rather be on the Multistrada right now. And I'm so sad that I'm saying this. What do you think, Whitney?
I I just love hearing how much it bothers you. I think like, I didn't like it, but I didn't think that it had surgically removed part of my soul by any means. But you and I came up with a tagline for the Versys 650 that sums up everything, and it's Versys 650, I'd rather be driving.
Yep. Yeah, I think that perfectly sums up the nature of the Versys 650 right here. Guys, I'm sorry. I really tried to find the good in this bike, and I will be doing a full review on it if you want to hear everything. But
But he's upset that you're making him do it. Bad Discord boys, naughty. I thought you guys were cool.
with all of that, thanks for coming along, Whitney. Thank you for humoring me and
Yeah, I'm
listening
gonna
to
take
me
you to the
just
hospital, right? We're just gonna drop these bikes off and we're gonna go straight to the ER because something's wrong and it's all the Versys 650's fault.
I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.